When a show produces over 700 episodes, I guess it's bound to ruffle a few feathers from time to time. The Simpsons has developed a worldwide audience and is broadcast in over 200 countries, appealing to a range of different cultures. At times, this has seen the show cause offence and even led to some episodes being banned in certain countries, often for the show's depiction of that nation. However, there's one particular instance of a Simpsons episode being banned that I want to focus on in this video, one that I personally still can't quite get my head around to this day. As a child, I watched The Simpsons religiously, and the highlight of each week was a Sunday evening when a new episode would air. I would record each new episode and watch it repeatedly until I could almost quote it word for word. So you can imagine my shock when one day I was looking for a video to rent and came across this. A Simpsons compilation VHS tape containing a never-before-seen episode. The Simpsons Too Hot for TV was a VHS collection of 4 episodes which had originally been heavily edited for television broadcast, due to containing mature themes or content, including the Cartridge family, an episode which had never previously aired in the UK. This blew my young mind to discover that an episode of The Simpsons existed that I had never seen before. So what was it about this particular episode that caused it to be deemed so offensive that Sky One, the holder of the broadcasting rights of The Simpsons in the UK, chose not to air it at the time? When looking back at old episodes of The Simpsons on DVD or streaming services, it's clear that it was actually quite common for episodes to be edited when they originally aired in the UK and Ireland. There were a lot of short snippets that were missing from episodes when originally aired, strangely most of them for the use of the word bastard, which seems to have been a no-no for pre-watershed television in the UK. However, in the case of the Cartridge family, there were a number of scenes which would lead to the entire episode being effectively banned from the nation's television screens. The plot of the episode sees an exhibition soccer match staged in Springfield. When the locals grow tired of the game, they begin to fight over who gets to leave the stadium first, leading to citywide rioting. After exploring home security options, Homer eventually decides to purchase a gun to protect his family, and behaves with all the maturity you would expect once he gains possession of a firearm.
You want me to get the cat down?
No thanks.
When Marge has enough of Homer's dangerous behaviour, she makes him promise to give up the gun. However, after discovering that he has the gun hidden in the house, she takes the kids and leaves to stay at a sleazy motel. When Homer's reckless use of the gun causes him to be kicked out of the NRA, he goes to search for Marge and the kids at the motel, and after the family get caught up in a robbery, he produces the gun with unsuccessful results, before members of the local NRA intervene, and Homer promises to get rid of his gun once and for all. It's difficult to find any official statement from Sky TV explaining why the episode was pulled at the time. However, most sources online appear to suggest that there were 3 scenes in particular which caused enough concern at the network to lead to a decision not to air the episode. The first is the riot scene from the soccer match. Personally, I find this one very hard to believe. It's a scene that really isn't any different to countless other times the residents of Springfield have quickly decided to turn to violence. The second is the scene when Homer tells Marge to close her eyes and then points a gun in her face. This one is possibly a bit more understandable, and having a scene with a man pointing a gun at his wife also caused concern with the Fox network in America, who raised the issue with the show creators, but would eventually allow the scene to air unedited.
This is the trigger, and this is the thing you point at whenever you want to die.
Homer, I don't want guns in my house.
The third scene that Sky took issue with was when Bart finds Homer's gun in the vegetable crisper and decides to play William Tell with Milhouse, with Marge arriving just in time before the game begins.
Oh, I see Bart gets to have a gun.
You lied to me. You promised to get rid of this gun.
I put it in a safe place, Marge. I mean, what are the odds the boy would look in a vegetable crisper?
When trying to assess why Sky TV made a decision at the time to pull the episode from its scheduling, I think it probably comes down to being a case of what would have been left of the episode after they had cut out the bits that they weren't happy with. As mentioned earlier, it was quite common for Sky to edit out parts of scenes in The Simpsons, usually for the use of bad language. However, these were usually very short clips which didn't alter the plot of the episode. In the case of the Cartridge family, the parts that they had issues with were pretty much instrumental to the story. I mean, the entire episode is based around the idea of Homer owning a gun. If you cut out the scene where Homer points a gun at Marge, you're removing the reveal of Homer finally getting his hands on a firearm. And if you cut out the scene with Bart and Milhouse, it removes the reveal that Homer never actually got rid of the gun and lied to Marge. Perhaps it was a case that it was easier to just not air the episode at all, rather than air an edited version where the plot made no sense. The Cartridge Family would eventually air for the first time in the UK in 2001 on the BBC, 4 years after its original air date in the United States. At that time, the national broadcaster BBC had the rights to show episodes a number of years after they had premiered on Sky 1, and the episode would also eventually air on Sky in the years that followed. However, interestingly, each version of the Cartridge Family that aired on either channel was given a slightly different ending to the original. In the original version of the episode, the final scene sees Marge proceed to throw the handgun into the rubbish bin, but upon seeing her reflection holding the gun, she likes the way it looks and decides to keep it, walking out of the motel in the manner of a femme fatale. In the version that aired in the UK, the shot of Marge deciding to put the gun in her handbag is cut, insinuating that she did drop the gun into the bin, which kind of meant that her walk out of the motel made no sense. So after a 4-year wait for it to air, was the episode actually any good? I think it can probably be best described as a pretty standard episode from that time. Season 9 was a time when The Simpsons was beginning to show signs of decline, and the Cartridge Family was typical of many episodes from that season, with plenty of funny moments and standalone jokes, but with a plotline lacking the quality of earlier seasons.
I'll also need to remove your tattoo.
I didn't get one yet.
Rats.
Looking back, it really does seem strange that the Cartridge Family took so long to air on this side of the Atlantic. There have been a couple of episodes of The Simpsons aired since, which have been deemed unsuitable for pre-watershed viewing in the UK. However, they were simply aired later in the evening post-watershed, which begs the question why they couldn't have just done the same thing with the Cartridge Family.
That would have made a lot more sense.
Either way, as a kid at the time, I was just happy to get my hands on that unaired episode, and I guess just to know that it even existed. Although it may not have been a classic episode by any means, it was certainly memorable, and is probably as relevant today as it was at the time it first aired.
I'd kill you if I had my gun.
Yeah, well, you don't.
Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video then please remember to like, maybe leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell as it really helps the channel grow. Also, just a quick note regarding future uploads from this channel. This video has obviously published on a Sunday, and I'm planning to hopefully make this a regular publishing time. This year has been incredibly busy, however going forward uploads on this channel are going to become a lot more frequent, with the next video publishing in 2 weeks time and hopefully a new upload every Sunday after that. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next video.